Chiggity chiggity check. Hey everybody, welcome to welcome actually to another episode of the Ask an Enemy Interviews podcast. I am joined by Daniel Rivera of...
Hey everybody, of Kilo and the Do. I'm the Kilo part.
Where's the Do, man?
Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us. He had some preset arrangements with his significant other, so unfortunately he couldn't be with us tonight.
Oh, okay. That's it? That's the only reason why?
Essentially, yes. That he forgot about for about 2 weeks.
Did you guys, you told me you guys were going to have practice today, weren't you?
Yeah, we actually did rehearse. That's why I was a little bit late.
Or rehearse, yeah. Some people call it practice. Some
rehearse, practice.
It shows how professional you are, man. Yeah. Some people do that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty much running through the set list. I mean, everything's already done. We're just, trying to get the transitions. We're going to be doing some different stuff than just sitting on stage and playing, so...
Cool, man. Anything you want to reveal right away, or?
No, just staying tuned, and it's gonna be an interesting show. It's gonna be fun, man.
Well, yeah. Obviously, to elaborate, the reason we're doing this today is because Kilo and the Do has their CD release party scheduled for December the 6th, which is tomorrow.
Yes.
When do doors open?
Doors are going to be opening at 8. We're hoping to get the music going at about 9. We got 2 great bands starting before us. One is Magnifique, their local band. They've been around for a couple of years as far as I know. And then
I'm kind of a little disappointed they didn't make it, man, because I've been wanting to interview those guys for a while.
Yeah, so. Unfortunately, them and Wake Up Stranger, the other band that's playing, who's also a great band, since it was kind of short notice, they weren't able to come out, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But... I think I'm pretty good company. So.
Yeah, no, totally, man. So what I wanted to start off with was basically just like introduce your band, like to someone who's never heard your band. Like what would you describe the music as? Like, because it's very party-y almost. Like I can totally see kind of people partying to it. Jumping, in a sense. Yeah.
Well, the whole premise of our music is. We're a 2-man band, for those of you who haven't heard of us, by the way. And we use a lot of electronic stuff, pre-recorded stuff. And we've grown to call ourselves Indie Pop. Indie because we are, of course, an independent group. And Pop just because it has that sort of pop feel to it. The chorus of most songs are really catchy. We have little breaks to where you can kind of jump around a little bit. It's something fun. It's not... And, our lyrics do have a message as well.
Right.
I mean, we can get into all that later. But it's just basically indie pop and a little bit of new age. On, some websites and stuff, we've compared ourselves and been compared. We did a thing on Reverb Nation to bands such as MGMT, Owl City, 21 Pilots, a couple different bands like that.
Really, yeah. Of those bands, the only one I'm familiar with is like Owl City.
Yeah.
But I could see that. I could totally see that, man.
Yeah. There's a song that I know you've seen us perform live. I think once or twice.
Yeah.
There's a song that's very at the network. There's a song that's very MGMT-ish that I don't think you've heard because we wrote it afterwards. It's a really weird, really fun. A lot of there's about 4 different tempo changes within the song, mostly to like fast to slow to fast to slow. It has this little cool bass drum part that's kind of like a heartbeat through the whole song that keeps the song solidified.
Right. Is it on the EP?
It is going to be on the EP.
What song is it?
It's called Explore.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
I remember when having like a kind of consistent beat that when you started describing it, that was like that. It sounds like that's the one he's talking about.
Explore was, I think, I want to say the
fourth... Oh, yeah, I have it listed here. It's the 4th track.
Yeah, it's the 4th track. Oh, it's actually the 3rd track.
Okay.
It's the 4th song that we actually wrote. So our writing style had kind of evolved a little bit, and we were like, let's do something really weird. We hadn't really put a lot of synthesizers in, and this song starts heavy synths with vocals, and it's kind of a punch-you-in-the-face kind of song, and then it has like a groove pop feel in the middle of it where it's just me playing along with some vibraphone. Right. So it's a lot of fun, man. It's really cool. That's got to be one of my favorite tracks off of the album. I think our most popular song thus far has been Yellow Lines. Right. As the song, we actually released it about a month and a half ago as a single. We've got, a lot of purchases, a lot of great reviews on it and stuff and so forth. But Explore has got to be the diverse song on the album coming out on the EP actually.
Yeah, I mean, the obviously, yeah. When I went back, I went to your guys' website, which is one of the things I've always. I'm sure you probably remember from the other podcasts. I always tell bands like you have to have a website. You can't just have a Facebook.
You're the reason that I pushed the website
shit.
as well.
Okay, cool, man. Well, I mean, it's true. It's like a lot of people do like their Facebook pages, and it's just kind of like that's laziness. You know, it's not your website. It's not your website.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, and just like you touched, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but you said I'm professional because I called our practice rehearsal.
Yeah.
Well, it was the same thing. I mean, this might be a little too much, but he was my bandmate. I'm the one that pushes social media and the website and everything like that, right. And he wanted to keep Facebook as a primary means, and I told him no. We have to do a website. So I started kilointhedewmusic.com for all of you that haven't seen it yet. If you're watching, go check it out. You can stream our whole album there. See a couple blog posts that we've made. We've actually been interviewed by the Prospector at UTEP as well.
Yeah, talk a little about that, man, because I remember you were mentioning this to me a long time ago when you guys were doing it. It was like a talent show or something that you did, didn't you?
Well, I mean, that goes back to the beginning. But the reason we did the Prospector interview is because we, along with a few other great local bands, had the honor of playing for Minor Palooza.
Right.
And I'm not an enrolled student right now, but I am a student at UTEP, and my bandmate Jason, the Dew, is a...
We'll get into those nicknames in a bit, man, because I've always thought that was interesting.
He's a media advertising major, and so I guess the entertainment editor thought it was interesting, and she messaged us. That was horrible. And and we just
it's your first time interview, man. That's why.
But it was really, really weird the way that they did it, because they didn't even tell us. We had a show at the Percolator, and like about 10 minutes before our set, they were like, "Oh, can you come outside so we can interview you?" And we weren't prepared.
That's always good though, man. It keeps you on your feet, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, for the people watching, if you want to check it out, there's actually a video, albeit it doesn't have great audio quality.
Right.
But it is an interview. You kind of get a little bit of insight where we were then, which was, I believe, mid-August.
Right.
And then Minor Palooza was the 6th of September, so that was a great show. We played with Magnifique, and who else did we play with?
Because how long have you guys been together?
Officially, we began playing, I want to say, February of 2012.
Why do you say officially? Why is there that qualifier?
All right. Well, the way that we met was actually through UTEP. We're both part of an organization at UTEP. And one day we just started talking. He's young. I'm 25. He's 21. And he told me he was interested in music. I told him I was a drummer and I have a little bit of experience recording. And he asked me to record a couple of his songs that he had been writing. So I said, not a problem. And we started that, I want to say December of 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially the way that Kilo and the Dew started, we actually weren't even talking about starting a band. The UTEP talent show came around, and he had been pushed by some friends and family. They were like, "Oh, well, you should do it. Your songs are cool, blah, blah, blah." And so he gave me a call. He's like, "I need a drummer. Are you down?" And I was like, "I am down." So we played. We had a few people come listen to the song. It was just one song. It's actually the second track on the album, "Lose Yourself."
Mm-hmm.
And that was the song that I first helped him write, or not write, but record back in December. And that was a song we did for the talent show. We also remixed it, but I'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
And after the talent show, people just loved it so much. They were like, "You need to keep doing it. You need to keep doing it." And a week later, he showed up to my house, and we wrote Yellow Lines. And then we wrote Air, and then it just kind of history from there. We just started walking downtown one day. We were like, "Well, we got to get a gig. We got to get a gig." And we just so happened to walk into the network, and that was our first official show here in El Paso at the network. And we actually we were residents there for about 2 months. We played every other Monday, consistently.
I remember you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's basically how we started. So when I say February, that's when we officially said, I want to say late February, early March. Late February, early March, we sat down. We were like, we're going to pursue this as a project, not just as some little side thing that we're doing. Like, we are Kilo and the Dew, and we're going to keep being Kilo and the Dew.
Right. Wow, dude, that's actually a really interesting way of starting a band. I don't think I've ever met another band that has done that way, you know?
Well, yeah.
It's always like, oh, we're friends from high school, we started a band and whatever.
Yeah, we're I guess you could say almost a different generation. I think he graduated 4 years after I graduated.
Right.
And I think one of the most interesting things is and again, this is a really personal thing, but I actually had given up drumming and given up playing music, trying to pursue it, just because I had so much negativity towards it. I was in a cover band last year, and I'm not going to say that cover band was negative, but I guess last year I entered the world of the cover bands, and
right.
It's a really bad feeling because you essentially go to this bar, you play for a bunch of drunk people, they tell you that you're amazing, you get paid maybe $70 to $100, and that's it. There's no gratification after that. You're playing other people's music, and it's just
right.
And so after that, I was having trouble finding people. I'm really not into any type of heavy metal anymore. I don't like playing that stuff. Like I respect the music, don't get me wrong, but I can't see myself playing it. And actually, I think when I first met you for the first time, I was actually in a country project.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
We actually just played a couple of things, and honestly, I left the country project probably in about May to pursue Kilo and the Do full time.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but up to that, it was just like, oh well, you know, I'm gonna keep my life here, and then I'm gonna play music every once in a while. And now, my mode has completely shifted because now I'm like, music again is my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
What basically made how long have you been playing drums for? Is that your main instrument? That's what you do?
That is technically my main instrument is tuba. I'm classically trained as a tuba player.
Okay.
But yes, I guess story going all the way back till I was since I was 12, I worked with my dad as a mechanic for a summer and bought myself my first PDP.
Wow, man.
Kit, and I've been playing ever since I was 12. I took a few professional lessons. I played on the drumline throughout high school, and I've just been playing off and on all those years. I think between the ages of maybe 22 to about 24, I stopped playing.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, I've played consistently. I've done everything from jazz to a little bit of funk to rock, heavy metal, you know, good old 80s hair metal.
And have most of those bands been cover bands or?
Well, not really. Consistently, like I guess you could say through high school, I played with a great friend of mine. His name's Gabe Jimenez. He's an amazing guitar player. Unfortunately, he doesn't live here anymore. But
where'd you move to?
Virginia.
Oh shit!
He's in
Virginia.
He's in the Navy, so he got stationed out in Virginia.
Then.
But he's a great guitar player, and actually, I want to plug him. He is the music director at Calgary Church, and they're doing great work out there, man. Amazing stuff. But I played in a heavy rock band. Well, actually, it was really weird. I guess junior and senior year, I went from playing in a punk band, and it was the same 3 members, and we went from one night to the next being a punk band to a heavy metal band. It was really weird. I guess we couldn't.
I can see that.
We couldn't decide what we wanted to do, and from there, it's been a bunch of bands. Like I think my first band I was in was in 8th grade at Ornado Middle School.
Right.
And it's been mostly covers, a little bit of originals. Most of the originals I've actually assisted in writing was with my friend Gabe. With that, we wrote mostly like John Mayer-ish kind of stuff. In high school, I went through like a huge Dave Matthews phase where Carter Beauford, the drummer of Dave Matthews, he's just my idol.
He's fucking amazing, man.
Yeah, I kind of
balls out drummer.
He's amazing. Like I don't know. I mean, everyone talks about all these other drummers, but he just has that finesse and it's just amazing what he can do.
Did you ever watch his like Under the Table and Drumming?
I actually own the DVD.
Dude, that thing's fucking amazing, man.
Yes, and I love that they included the poster with everything. I mean, for you guys. You know, watching at home, we got a friend of mine over here. You can ask him. He's a drummer, and we both played in jazz band at Andrus, and we both went through Dave Matthews phase at the same time. And I had a truck at the time. I was a junior, and I'd pick him up, and we'd pick up.
You had a truck. You were a Dave Matthews band. What the hell, dude? That totally fits, man.
Right. Well, and then I'd pick him up every day. What was it, 6:30, something like that, for practice for jazz, and we'd pick up his drum kit because he had a newer Pacific drum kit than my crappy old one. And we would listen to Number 41 every morning. I think probably for 100 days straight at least. We listened to Number 41.
Number 41's a damn good song,
I
man.
love that
it's
song
a damn
so
good
much.
song.
And actually, I attribute to Gabe. He's the one that introduced me into that.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I played some like Crash. I had covered with a band like my freshman year in high school when I went to Franklin. This was all at Andrus, by the way. I moved my sophomore year, but I just love Dave Matthews, and I just love that style of drumming. I love that poppy kind of feel, a lot of hi-hats.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you guys come out tomorrow night, on the recording, it's not so evident because I'm trying to keep it as clean and straight up as possible. Plus, I only had 4 hours to record 5 drum tracks.
Right.
But, I mean, you'll see me doing a little bit of things that I've learned off of Carter over the years. But we wrote a lot of songs similar to that. I don't think there's recordings anywhere of them, but... other than that, after high school, it was pretty much all cover bands. And, I mean, they served their purpose. Like,
yeah.
But it's not my cup of tea. I can't see myself, and excuse me if I'm, speaking harshly about some people, but I can't see myself playing that way when I'm 30 and 40. I would just be so bored.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's you, man. And, I mean, I've had some shit to say about, cover bands and stuff, too, but... I mean, everyone does their thing, and I've had friends who play in cover bands who, I mean, that's just what they want to do, Yeah. Like they, instead of being a server, they'd rather fucking play, covers, and there's nothing wrong with that. At least they're still keeping up their chops,
Yeah.
fucking get some money.
All I have to say is that if I have to ever play Breaking the Law by Judas Priest again, I think I would kill somebody.
Shit, I think having to listen to that from the audience would probably be pretty hardcore too, man.
Yeah,
that's like playing fucking Freebird,
Actually, really hilarious story, man, if you don't mind me.
No, of course, man.
I think the funniest thing that ever happened while I was in a cover band, I was in this band called Hollywood Hysteria with a great guitarist, great songwriter. His name's Jose Cepeda. He's on my Facebook. You guys can check him out. He's on SoundCloud and everything. But he... we were playing a gig at King's X, and... all of a sudden, during a song, I just felt the ground shake, and we were
at King's X.
Yeah, it was really weird, and we were like facing the entrance. So when you walk in, there's like a big screen on the left hand side.
Right.
And we were set up right there, and we had a pretty good sound system. We had a sub, and then a stacked speaker on top with 2 15s and a tweeter up on top. Some drunk dude fell off a bar stool and knocked over both speakers. And we're playing, and I'm just sitting there playing, and I look over, and this dude is like a turtle fucking on his back, like just moving around.
Damn.
It was the funniest. I mean, it wasn't my sound system, so
yeah.
I guess that's kind of mean to say. I felt bad for the guy, but
no, I mean,
it is what it is,
Yeah, shit's funny, dude. It's
but
all good.
I love telling that story because it was just the funniest. And this dude, he must have been like 6'3", 6'4", maybe 300-400 pounds almost, and he was just, oh man, it was hilarious.
Well, what I actually wanted to touch on too, and it's interesting that you have your friend Chris over here off to the side, because when I was asking you to describe your style, I actually wanted to have you seen them live, dude.
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay. I wanted to see what your opinion was of like their style or whatever.
Oh, tomorrow I'll find out.
Yeah, right. Have you heard it though?
Yeah, I've heard the music.
Okay.
I mean, recordings and everything.
No, go ahead, man. Sorry.
No, he's consulted me about it too, because we kind of in high school we used to share a lot of opinions with music.
Right.
Because we shared the same style and everything, but I haven't had the opportunity to see him.
Yeah.
Right.
There's been a lot of he's really into electronic music, and if you notice some of our stuff, synthesizers and stuff. So when we started writing with stuff like that, I actually consulted him, and he
on like what equipment to get, or
no, not on what equipment, like on what sounds would be good, or
okay,
because he's really well nowadays. He listens to everything, but a lot of the times when we have a conversation, it'll revolve around me talking about different bands that I've discovered, mostly like heading towards like the rock and pop genre, and then he'll talk about like EDM music, electronic music, and like he'll show me some crazy stuff, like with crazy names I haven't even heard of. Like there was one, it was a classical song, it just sounded amazing. I don't know, he showed me a bunch of stuff, but I actually consulted with him during us writing music, writing some of the songs, and asked him his opinion. But yeah, unfortunately he's never seen us live. So I mean, what do you think, man, after all the questions that I've asked you about some of our stuff?
I there was a, I don't remember who it was. You showed me a couple of weeks ago. It was this one guy alone, completely electronic. I don't remember his name.
Oh, Robert DeLong. Have you ever heard of him?
That guy.
Robert DeLong. That sounds familiar.
He's not to my understanding, no relation to Tom DeLong. But he essentially, he almost does like what you do, but instead of, or he actually has a drum set, but instead of playing guitar or bass or anything, he has like an Alesis control pad, and he rewires like Xbox controllers and Wii controllers and uses them as MIDI devices. And he's an electronic dude, but he does everything live, and he's just really amazing. I mean, if you guys haven't heard of him, check him out. I actually heard of him because we went out to Austin to check out 21 Pilots, and he was the one opening, and he was just awesome.
Wow. And does doing the whole Wiimote and Xbox 360 controllers serve any other purpose? I mean,
honestly, what it is, what it seemed to me with the Xbox controller, he reprogrammed a couple of I think X, Y, and A, B buttons, to trigger some MIDI things. So on some of the melodies, he would play the melody on the Xbox controller itself, instead of anything else. And for the Wii remote, what he did was while he was singing, when he would sing like a longer note, it looked like he was holding down the trigger, and that was activating some type of delay. And as he moved his arm down or to the side, it would change, the tempo of the delay, and it just sounded so cool, and it looked cool too, because actually it looked really ridiculous.
But That sounds familiar.
And it's just awesome to know that, you know, in this new age of musicianship, that these record labels are actually recognizing them. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what. And some people would probably argue, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate, not that I'm taking that side or anything, but just the idea of that seems more gimmicky is not the right word, but just the Wiimote makes sense because of the gyroscopic controller, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool, but the idea of using a Xbox 360 gamepad where you could just use a keyboard in its place. Unless if you're using the XY, I mean the sticks as like XY coordinates as
Which
like
would be amazing,
like D-beam kind of replacements. Yeah, then that totally makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean I didn't really notice any of that, and honestly, I think he only used it once. But keep in mind, he actually had a setup. He had a 21 key M Audio Axiom. He had the Alesis control pad. Another cool thing is he had like one of his songs had like almost, I don't want to say dubstep, but like a drop. It had a drop in it. And he used, I don't know what it was, but it's one of those controllers.
Drop.
He would use one of those controllers, like one of those airplane-looking controllers that you would use.
Oh yeah, like just a normal joystick.
And that's how he would do the drop, and then he had a couple buttons on the side, and so I'm assuming that he would activate some kind of delay or some kind of filter, maybe an envelope or something like that.
Yeah, because a lot of those filter effects are based on like XY patterns, so that's why joysticks. That's why I'm saying joysticks make sense. You know, Yeah,
and I mean a lot of the stuff he was doing, and he has this one song called Global Concepts, and it actually, when it goes to the drop, it does
drop.
It does like he goes into like this kind of a Latin sounding, and he has a live timbale on stage, and he just wails on the timbale like right up to this drop. Yeah, and it's just really cool. I mean, check it out, man. And you guys watch and check it out. It's pretty cool. It's different, which is the nice thing. I mean, it's always fun to see different stuff, you know?
Right. Yeah, unless that's what I'm saying. Like, just unless if it's different for different sake, you know. And but that's why again I wanted to get back into the just your style of music and what like is it what's the dude's real name?
His name is Jason.
Okay, Jason, that's right. I was trying to remember that. Well, really quick, why Kilo and the Do?
Okay,
you've told me before, but obviously for them.
Well, first off, my bandmate Jason, his last name is Dow, D-A-W, and apparently during
Digital Audio Workstation.
Right. Actually, I used to call him Daw, and he's like, dude, it's pronounced Dow.
Yeah.
He's actually...
I do that, too, because I'm all fucking wetback, and my girlfriend corrects me. He's like, hey, are you good? You want to go to Dawes? It's Dow's, you idiot.
Well,
all right.
That's actually owned by his family. Dow's Home Furnishing. He's part of that Dow's, I guess.
Cool, man.
I don't know if there's any other ones, but they apparently in high school they just called him Do. He went to Franklin, and apparently he was like, "Hey, what's up, Do?" Like someone would come up to him or whatever. Kilo was a nickname given to me. Like I said, we're in an organization at UTEP. We both met each other through a fraternity.
Right.
And when I became a member back was in 2008, my big brother at the time had to give me a nickname, and they just called me Kilo.
Yeah.
And honestly, what it is, I ain't got no shame.
You're a big boy,
I'm a
man.
big boy, and I got a lot of loving, so I got a lot of kilos to share, you know?
Nice, man.
So, I mean, that's what it was, and I've embraced the nickname ever since. And honestly, where it came from, I'm not really the creative guy. It's all Jason. He's the creative dude. But
I wanted to get into that
one
a bit
day,
too.
one day we were just hanging out. We were like, dude, what are we gonna call ourselves at the talent show? This was before we even were planning to be a band.
Right.
He's like, Kilo and the Do.
Straight up.
And then I was like, dude, that sounds so stupid. Like,
yeah. But you know what? And again, it's just that idea of your guys' style is I think it fits what you guys do.
Exactly.
You know? I really think
exactly.
it does. Because it's like it's not a name that's like, you know, like Mumford and Sons or something, you know, or it's all fucking pretentious and jack off or whatever. But Kilo and the Dude just makes sense for the style that you guys do, you know? And the type of, at least, again, I've only seen you guys once. But just the kind of attitude or attitude's the wrong word, like just persona you guys have on stage, you know?
I mean, we try to make it fun. I mean, music is supposed to be fun, so
yeah,
we try
absolutely.
to jump around. And now that I'm more comfortable in what we're playing, I try to be more visual. And just to interject, point of information, the show that you saw us at, we were bad.
Well, the thing is, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, you said that was one of your first shows.
That was probably, I think, because, okay, we did the talent show, then we did like a little backyard party, and then that was our first show.
Right.
Like that was, and honestly, what it came down to is we didn't have enough material to cover the time, so we just did random stuff. I think we did a version of Hey Ya that was just not worth it at all.
I think I remember that. Yeah,
and then,
you guys. I know you guys did a cover of that MGMT song that I actually like.
Yeah, and everyone loves that song. And spoiler alert, we're not playing it tomorrow because we've played it so many times.
Right.
I think we played it out. So
are you guys doing any covers at all?
We are doing 2 covers. One of them is gonna be very.
You sure you want to reveal it?
Well, no, I'm not gonna reveal it.
Okay.
One is gonna be very noticeable. One is gonna be one that I think almost anyone in El Paso has never heard of. I've mentioned 21 Pilots a couple of times. This was a song of theirs prior to them being signed to a label.
Okay.
So.
Well, you just reminded me because the way you mentioned your style was indie pop. That's weird. I mean, the pop, totally. The indie is something, I don't know if you saw an episode where I was talking to my old co-host, Barry, and my friend Henry, Hector. We were talking about the labeling things, right?
Yeah.
So we were talking about how, like, what does indie mean? We know it means independent, but that's not a way to label music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it's just a really quick way to say, hey, we're not signed, we're doing this on our own.
Exactly.
But that's not a sound. You know, by saying indie, like, you're basically saying you're just anything. But I like, that's what I'm saying. I like that you added the pop because that makes sense, but it's weird you added the indie in there.
All right. So what indie means to me, honestly, it's in the post standardized music era, you know, after iTunes was released and Bandcamp and Reverb Nation and all these places became a thing where musicians could actually become musicians without a label. That's a way of showing, look, I didn't have a label sit here and do all this crap for me. I sat here and did this. Right. So that's the only reason that I've done it is because to show, yes, we're not signed to a label. Of course, it's not a sound, but it's a description of you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Other than that, we've been referred to as New Age Pop. That was another title that was given to us.
You know what? The weird part, I'm completely ignorant to this, and I'm just gonna say it right now. I honestly don't understand what the word New Age means.
I've always interpreted it as different, something different than what's out there right now.
I don't know. I've always thought of it as like Enya and fucking Deep Forest and shit.
Well, yeah, but it was different at the time when it came out. Honestly, I hate labels, and
Exactly. Likewise.
I feel like a jackass. There's a podcast out there called the Musicians Daily.
Mm-hmm.
Not DIY. It's not the CD Baby. It's hosted by a guy named Thorny Bleeder. He's from Canada, and this other dude named Michael Brandvold. They're both music promoters, and kind of they give just basic advice and stuff. And I remember about 4 months ago, I emailed Brian Thompson, that's his name, on Twitter. He's at Thorny Bleeder. And I told him, I was like, dude, I don't know what to call our sound. And I gave him like a couple of samples of our stuff. And he emailed me back like 2 months later, because he's one of those dude that offer a service. You pay him $150 and he'll sit with you on Skype and talk about what your plans for the future are. And he was like, you're not a real band unless you define your sound. And I was like, well, why do we have to be defined? Like, can't we just make something that sounds cool and share it with other people? Like, I don't know. I understand the point of definitions and labeling somebody, but at the same time, why can't you just make stuff?
Okay, that's a perfect segue to a question. You guys you have a question from Linda, and she asked what regarding like the band, what's your goal? Like, what are you in it for? But hold on, because I kind of want to...
Yeah.
Just the idea of it seems more of like a... Well, just something that I've always pointed out is that it seems more of something that's like a marketing thing, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you don't quote unquote label yourself, then people don't know what you're like or whatever unless they see you, right?
Yeah. Not only that, I mean, it speaks to the people that are doing the marketing, because they need to be able to, narrow down your demographics. I mean, that's what this whole, Google collecting your information and Facebook taking your information is, to find out where do you sit and what can we advertise to you, rather than let's spend a bunch of money and advertise to the masses,
right,
where 90% of this is going to get into people's hands that don't even care.
Right.
And I mean, I guess from a marketing and selling standpoint, I understand, but I mean, and this is going to sound super cliche, but from the point of a musician, it's like, I just want to make music that sounds cool to me, and maybe it'll sound cool to somebody else.
Right. So yeah, I mean, in a sense, I mean, what are you in it for then? I mean, that's it? It's just like, you really do just want to make a CD that at the end of the day, you could just pop it in and be like, all right, cool.
Well, I mean, first off, I got to say, it's an amazing feeling putting out a CD. I mean, I already have the physical CDs. Spoiler alert, they don't come in tomorrow. We've had them for a week or so.
Yeah.
But
that's usually the case when you get stuff done the way you're supposed to, man.
Holding a CD and knowing that and not just me, but my bandmate,
right,
our money and our time and everything went into making this. It just feels amazing. It's kind of like when you draw, like, I guess to put it in another perspective, when you draw something in like 7th or 8th grade and 4 years later you find it, you're like, that's a really cool drawing. I'm surprised. It's like that. You're just, you hold it and you're like, this, whether or not you like it, I mean, you made it, and it's official to me. I mean, but to more broadly answer Linda's question, effectively, I mean, we want to get out there. We want people to hear us. We want to be able to perform in other cities. We're actually trying to schedule a tour in June in Texas.
I was actually going to ask you guys about touring.
And honestly, as I don't know, as weird as this might sound, I mean, if we were to be able to do something greater and bigger, we would definitely pursue that.
Right.
Honestly, I mean, I catch myself thinking, man, if I didn't have to be at work 8 hours a day, what else could I make? Like, I was surprised on what we've been able to make. And
right.
It's like, if I didn't have to dedicate my life to sitting in a desk.
Yeah.
Or sitting at a desk.
Okay, so just based on that, again, just playing devil's advocate, not that I'm taking that position, what would you do for someone who came up to you and went to your show, and at the end of the show, like, was honest, straight up, and just came up to you and said, man, you guys suck? Well, like, what do you tell that person?
Honestly, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And honestly, we already have a callus to that, because there's a feature on Reverb Nation called Crowd Listen, to where they supposedly send it out to X amount of people that are within or influential within the music industry or have some ties to the music industry, and they listen to it. And out of 10, we got a 7.3 on Yellow Lines, which I thought was pretty decent. Apparently at a 7.
Well, that's above average, man.
Yeah.
People don't remember that. 5 is average.
Well,
everything above that is
at
above
a
average.
at a 7 point. Okay, well the way that the rating worked was 1 to 6 was not ready. 6 to 8 was radio potential and commercial potential, and then 8 to 10 was commercial ready.
Right.
But technically, they referred to a 7.6 being commercially potential.
Okay.
And honestly, I mean, this might sound a little big-headed, but the song, in my opinion, is good enough to be played on the radio. We could have done more with the vocals during the recording to layer the vocals, because right now, anyone that listens to the CD, the vocals is one track. There's no layering. There's some effects, some delay, maybe a little chorus, but there's no harmonization. There's no nothing, because unfortunately we just didn't have the time or the money to spend. But I mean, if someone came up to me, I'd be like, cool, man, what do you listen to? Let me listen to what you listen to. Maybe I'd like something that you listen to. You know, if someone wants to just come up to you and tell you that, then that's fine. Like,
that's
I don't
funny,
care.
man.
It doesn't
my
hurt
answer would have been like, fuck it. Whatever,
like,
man.
it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I mean, I'm just more interested in, I don't know, I have this weird thing where I just want to take in as much data into my brain and into my soul as possible, because I just think that's awesome. Like,
that's actually one thing I noticed about you, man, that I thought was really cool when we first met, was that you, of a lot of other people I know, were completely open to listen to local bands that you've never heard of, and you have, you know, unlike me, who has some kind of connection to maybe like a friend who's in this band that we've just played for ages, right? And they're like in another band now. If I introduced them to you, you wouldn't know, you wouldn't have any idea, you know, how long they've been in the scene, who they are, or whatever. But you'd still listen to their band completely open-minded, and whether you like it or not, I think that's really cool, because there are a lot of people in town who try to do that, but it's more like a fake humble. You know, like, I mean, it's just a way to be like, you know, it's fake modesty in a sense, you know? And I've always thought that was cool about you, man, is that you listen to that kind of stuff. And that you're like a sponge to anything that's local.
Well, yeah, I mean,
which is pretty rad.
Well, I mean, what it comes down to, I mean, I was in the cover scene before, but when we jumped into this, like I said, I mean, we can get into detail of this later, but I'm the technical, the business dude. Jason is the creative dude, and
is that by choice? I mean, does he say that too? Like, no, I don't want to do anything with that.
Effectively, it's not that he says that he doesn't want to, but I'm better at it.
Okay.
And he's better at being creative. I'm one of those dudes where I sit down and I try to write a song. Maybe I can write something fun like on keyboard and throw a little loop.
But you need someone else to kind of help you expand it.
Exactly. Okay. And I am absolutely horrendous at lyrics.
Okay.
But I love learning. I love sitting and talking to people. I mean, I can even remember when you had Never Too Late on because of your show.
Right.
I think you interviewed them a week before your show.
Right.
And they had a show that weekend at...
yeah, you actually went to that.
And I went to it, and I talked to Renee.
Right.
And I think I've scared a lot of bands, because I would see them and they would come off stage and, dude, your stuff sounds cool, man. Like,
yeah.
I really like, and I think what it was, and people knew that I was actually telling the truth, because instead of just saying, oh man, you know, you're an awesome guitarist, like, I would point, like, you know, on that third song, that little riff you did, or I'd tell the drummer, dude, that thing you did on the snare just sounded so cool. Like,
right.
Where did you come up with that? And I would try to sit there and have a conversation, and some would just blow me off because, you know, whatever. But some would sit there and talk to me, and that we would exchange contact info, and then we'd go from there. I mean, you got to be open-minded. I had no idea what the El Paso music scene was. So
right.
I had to teach myself.
Yeah. Know? Oh, that's awesome, man. That's a really good attitude to have. When you get to be my age, you tend to be a lot more cynical. You're like, fuck those guys.
It's already coming, man. I can already feel it.
No, man, I get a good vibe off you, man. Like a good, like, useful vibe. And that's why I'm always telling Cal, my girlfriend, that when I talk about you, certain things you talk about, I kind of want to look out for you in a sense, because I don't want you to get your hopes up too much, but I also don't want... just certain things you talk about, you know, I don't want to get into super detail about that, but just stuff that I think of that you talk about that I've seen personally in the years that I've been doing, you know, bands and shit like that, I mean, I always want people to learn on their own, but it's just certain things where I'm like, should I tell them something, you know, like, because I don't want you to seem like I'm trying to tell you what to do, but I want you to know that there's a lot of stuff that happens, that I don't even know if you've probably experienced or been through and stuff. But just keep a positive attitude, man. And it seems like you are that way,
I try to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to do this, for me and then the people that inevitably are going to hear my music. So
right.
If I keep a negative attitude, then I feel that my performance and everything is going to reflect that, and that's not what I want.
Right. There's a question from Milo who says, as a cover band trying to find their way, I'll let you answer this because mine is a little more, again, just cynical because I'm a fucking asshole. But so yeah, he asks, as a cover band trying to find their way, do you think the best step is to do your own songs?
Well, I guess the best way I can answer that question is, where are you within your musical abilities? Is this the first time that you've ever started a band and started to play live, or have you done this multiple times? I do not think that it is a bad thing to start as a cover band, because that's where you get your chops. And if you're in a multi-member band, 2, 3, 4, 5 members, you all have to figure out your chemistry. Mm-hmm. I mean, being in a band is much like having a relationship. If you don't get along with the other person, not only personally but musically, then you're basically gonna make crap.
Dude, if these mics weren't here, I'd get up and give you a big fucking hug. Because no one's fucking answered that question like that ever. It's always some kind of cynical remark like my assholeness. But that's cool because that's exactly what I try to say. But I come across as an asshole because I say it differently.
Well, I mean, to answer the question. Dude, start as a cover. Get out there, get that stage fright off of you.
Right.
Write some badass songs, and then the next time when you go play and those 2 people or 1 person sees you play again, and you're like, hey, by the way, this is my own song. And they listen to it. If they already like you, what you're doing cover-wise,
right.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, what it comes down to is, what do you want to do? Do you want to be your own band, or do you want to be a cover band? Do you want to play your music, or do you want to play, breaking the law for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Well, another thing also is I think it's also, and this is more of my opinion, but the idea of you knowing what your style is, you know what I mean? Like, the music you listen to doesn't necessarily reflect the style of music you play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's kind of weird, like, for some people who listen to music like Linkin Park or like Stained or something. A lot of people might think those bands suck, personal opinions, whatever the hell. But if listening to that music and covering that music helps you, like you're saying, just kind of get, just better at what you do, then eventually you just kind of naturally start, you'll sit there and you'll start messing with those same chords that were in that one song.
Yeah.
And then you just start piecing them together and making your own stuff. And it's kind of a way to like weed out people who don't know how to write songs. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. Go ahead.
To kind of touch on that, what I've noticed is that I do not. Let me rephrase that. I try not to discriminate. I mean, when I listen to music in my car, or I mean, you see me all the times. My head is attached to headphones 24/7. I listen. I
thought you were listening to NPR, man.
Actually, usually on my car ride home.
Shit.
The car rides I do because it just soothes my brain.
Right.
But that sounded really like a jackass. But no, I mean, what it comes down to is, for example, my new Spotify playlists. Mm-hmm. I have an Owl City playlist because someone said that we sound like them. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to kind of see where they were going. MIA, her new album. Mm-hmm. I have that in a playlist, which is called Matangi. I have the Kanye West album from this year. I have the 21 Pilots.
From this year?
Yeah, the Yeezus album.
Uh-huh.
And I listen to everything. Like, my grandfather, all he listens to is norteños. But I listen to those because, the thing that people don't understand is that the brain is an amazing thing. It picks up things, and then months later, all of a sudden, it'll come back out. And you'll just be like, whoa, where did that come from?
Right.
And you subconsciously pick up things, so you don't have to sit there and religiously listen to music that you don't like, but I mean, give everything a chance.
Right.
Because you don't know what kind of impact it's going to have on you later.
Yeah, and what I actually wanted to get into also is the idea of, well, you know what? I made a point of this, but the idea that you mentioned how, you have to build your chemistry.
Yeah.
I really like the idea that what covers help you do is, and again, this goes out to Milo because I know how Milo, played with some other dudes, and right now he's currently doing an acoustic thing, I think, on his own with another Milo. So the two Milos. They should actually call themselves the two Milos.
Two Milos.
Yeah. Milo minus Milo. That'd be awesome, dude.
There you go, Milo.
Yeah.
There's your name.
Milo plus Milo. Something like that, dude. Something that's kind of like indie like that, That's pretty cool.
Just make an anagram with their name.
Yeah, totally, man. Holy shit, there's so many like ideas just for even logos and shit.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool because if they're doing, like covers, it helps them know what their chemistry is,
Exactly.
and how to feed off each other and learning when to like mistakes or something, not to make a big deal about crap like that. Because I don't know if you've ever played with bands where when you play a show, like something happens and someone fucks up their guitar or something, and it ruins the mood for the rest of the show because the guy just overdoes it, and then it just throws the whole vibe off when you're playing live, and then you don't make your fuck ups obvious, you know what I mean? Like you might have a tick or something that lets people know, oh man, that guy messed up, but it's not like you don't fucking just stop and like drop your guitar, you go with it, man. You just keep going with the flow.
I totally agree, man. Chemistry is very important, and a little Easter egg, I guess you could call it, for the show for all of you who are gonna be out there. If you see me make this face, that means I messed up. That's my tick. That's something I can't prevent from doing.
Yeah, see, and I think everyone has that kind of that tell of like oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, you make a really good point there. I mean, that cover. I mean, when me and Jason first started playing together, I mean, I had to write the drum part to "Lose Yourself."
Right.
Even though the rest of the song, and both of us were really. I mean, I keep mentioning this band, 21 Pilots. They're probably our biggest influence, but we. That was the whole point behind Kids, was so that we can have something to warm up to. I mean, every band that I've ever been with, we've had that one song that we warm up to. My band in high school, we were warmed up to Unholy Confessions by Avenged Sevenfold.
Wow.
And then my other band that I had, my cover band, we would always warm up to Bon Jovi.
What song?
You Give Love a Bad Name.
Oh, shit, nice, man.
And that was like always the first song because you just have that chemistry. Everyone just feels comfortable playing that. And it's like, I warmed up myself, you warmed up yourself. Let's warm up as a whole. I think that's important,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's see. I guess your sister's name is Roxanne? Yeah?
Yeah.
She's on here saying, woo, Kilo and the Dude, love you guys. And Daniel's my brother, by the way. So you can't say that. If you say it's your brother, it's like, oh, shit, well, that's only my sister watching the show,
Yeah, thanks, Roxanne.
But yeah, so let's actually talk a little bit about your. I know, unless people have other questions, it seems like there's a couple people just kind of talking amongst themselves and stuff about the El Paso scene, which is good. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's always nice.
But I wanted to ask you guys about the recording process because I know you mentioned that you guys didn't record like in a studio, right? Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay, so
we actually had a bunch of really weird things. We went through about 3 places before we definitively decided. And just to throw a plug out there, any bands out there looking to record, go talk to El Adobe Studios. They are great.
You have a website?
They help. Yeah, eladobestudios.com. I can pull up an email address here in a moment. But El Adobe Studios, they're located here in El Paso. They're over by University Medical Center by the hospital on El Paso Drive, I believe. Wonderful studio. They have, the room is large enough for a full-fledged orchestra. They've done some amazing recording there. The studio's been around since, I believe, the late 70s or the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Our audio engineer was Ted Kelly. Probably.
Oh yeah, that guy's balls out, dude.
Holy crap! I mean, I'm not gonna tell that story, but I remember when I was tuning up the drums because I used their in-house Tama. Was it Star?
Swing Star.
SwingStar. Yeah, the SwingStar kit. I use that with a couple of really good choice cymbals.
Right.
But I remember I was hitting the floor tom because apparently they had their drum tech come and replace heads that morning.
Right.
And we had like 7 pieces of moon gel on it just because it kept ringing.
Yeah.
And like I hit it and like in my headphones it sounded good, and he just be like, dude, there's something going on. There's something going on. Like 25, 30 minutes. He's like, there's something going on. And sure enough, when I went in there, he muted just the floor tom, and you just hear like this boom. Boom.
See?
And I was like, oh, that's so awesome. And so then I spent another about 10 minutes just tuning the hell out of the drum.
Yeah.
And now it sounds awesome. Like if you listen to our song Air, there's this point where I'm basically hitting the hi-hat and then just slamming on the 2 drums, and it just sounds awesome.
Right.
And it just has that low punch that I was looking for. And but he was our audio engineer. Amazing dude. He was a lot of fun. Been around for a long time, and he just knows what he's doing. And then our mixing and mastering engineer was Barry Anderson. And
Barry, fucking old man Barry fixes guitars, Barry?
No, he wasn't that old. I would say maybe early mid 40s, late 80s. I mean late 80s, late 30s, maybe early 40s.
Okay.
He's really into like synth and stuff like that. I forgot what the thing is called, but he's into modular synths.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty awesome. I
yeah.
mean, I don't think I could ever use one of those things, but he did everything. And actually, I love this. I have nothing against Pro Tools, but our entire CD was recorded in Logic. Actually, our audio recordings, which the only thing that we physically recorded audio was the vocals, the piano, and the drums, was recorded into a Soundcraft mixer, or through a Soundcraft mixer into a Alesis HD24.
Okay.
So it was essentially all analog, then ported into Logic, and then I gave him the stems of the rest of the sounds that I had, and he did his magic.
Wow. Yeah, because you're familiar with Lightning at the Opera, right?
Yes.
Lightning at the Opera used to be, well, not used to be, but Ed, who's their singer, used to be in a band called Unity 150, and they did most of their recording with Ted Kelly.
Ted Kelly was awesome. I gotta say,
cool,
like, even in the future, I mean, you know, spoiler alert, we're planning on trying to record a full-fledged 12, 13-track album by the end of 2014. And I'd love to do it at Sonic Ranch or maybe even Beacon Hill. I'm actually going to go tour Beacon Hill here in a couple months. But if allowed, I would bring Ted Kelly. Like, he would be my engineer. I think
for the most part they do let you take your own engineer.
Unless we're signed by a record label and they tell us no, I think Ted Kelly will forever be our engineer. Just because I just love the way that he was able to record us. He was just amazing. Right.
Talking about like the recording stuff, you know, just for example, like for people like Milo who are out there, right? The thing with the recording too is like, you know, when you go into an actual recording studio and you know, like the people know what they're doing. That's what they do is they know what they're doing because they take their time on the drum set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have like 20 pieces of moon gel and they go in and they tune your drum set and they actually fucking hit the key on the keyboard to tune it to a certain key,
yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
So that's cool. But at the same time, that should not detract you from actually just recording just quick demos, you know, of like on an iPad or, I mean, there's so many different devices nowadays that allow you to like record, you know, and it's just sit there, you know, put your iPhone in the middle of the room or, you know, and then just play, you know, and then learn from that, go back and listen to it and realize where you're fucking up, where you're screwing up, where you're dropping your key and stuff that, you know?
I mean, I do that all the time. Actually, when we were writing Yellow Lions, we did that probably about 4 or 5 times. I recorded on my phone with a memo.
Right.
We went from there. I mean, I'm looking into doing stuff like we're hoping to release like a few singles throughout the year, and for our singles, we will be doing full recording.
Right.
We won't go to a studio. For a full-length album, we will go to a studio because I think that's a worthy investment.
Right.
But for like a few singles that we're going to release, we're going to be recording. I'm going to be buying some new gear. I can even get in depth with that on what I want to buy, but yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I love the whole idea of a in-house band recording in their own home, you know, doing their own stuff and tracking drums and tracking vocals, pissing off neighbors.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of that stuff can be done now with headphones because most of that stuff is electronic.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, to everyone that's out there, the entire live set, all the stems, everything that you're going to hear, everything that's not actually being played, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen us. There are stuff that's pre-recorded. We actually run it through Ableton.
Mm-hmm.
All of that was mixed with a set of iPhone headphones, just because I broke my other headphones.
Right.
But yeah, I've been able to do that. I've been able to mix and, you know, automate what I need to automate and do what I need to do to make these sound good and sound pristine and ready for stage, you know?
Right. There was another question asking, what do you think it takes a band in El Paso to make it? And there quotes on make it.
I'm curious as to who asked that question, but I think that's a hard.
I can't tell.
That's a hard question to answer because I mean I don't think we've made it anywhere. There's
Right.
still a ton of people in El Paso that don't know who the hell we are.
Right.
You know, but honestly, for any band,
I think there's a lot of bands that don't know who they are either.
Exactly. For you to make it, you just gotta do what you gotta do, man. Understand that there's gonna be people that aren't gonna like you. There's gonna be people that do like you, and push forward no matter what. And you know, if you're scared of asking a venue to play somewhere, or if you're scared of, you know, asking someone to promote you, or, you know, what have you, don't be. Just do it. You know,
Right.
I mean, that's what it takes. I mean, I think in any profession is that you just do. You don't ask. You just do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what
You
it's
kilo
gonna take.
and the do.
Exactly.
Let me see.
That's awesome.
Your sister says Shannon, Sammy, Amanda, Luis, Anthony, and Ava are watching also.
That's awesome. Hey guys, hope you're enjoying me ramble.
Oh, so actually it was Linda that asked that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you know what? I mean, I think it's kind of like, you know, you have bands like At the Drive-In who have obviously accomplished something, right?
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, it's always easy to reference them just because it's, you know, they've done something. And the whole point is, I think it's just because they just kept at it. You know what I mean? They just keep touring. You keep touring. And that was one of the things is a lot of bands, and honestly, I haven't really talked to Milo about this, but I don't know how much he would know about, you know, if you really want to do something, you have to tour. You know, you could be you could be super lucky and just be like some kind of tube tard who just puts a fucking song up on YouTube and all of a sudden, okay,
everywhere.
yeah, it suddenly gets you popular. But there's a difference between fame and success.
Yeah,
you know, and
definitely.
success is just individually what you consider
Yeah.
your accomplishments to be.
Because
You know?
you're the one that gauges your own success, you know?
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, touring is very important.
Right.
That's our next step, so.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you don't necessarily just start a band and right away start touring. You gotta, you know, play at home and see how you have to learn a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, bounce
exactly.
some ideas back and forth, and
I think, I mean, to point out to Linda's question, I think, and you know, just for the people that are watching, to have an insight on where Kilo and the Do is going to be going over the next year, I've been following a lot of bands, like small bands. I don't know if you've heard of like Starfucker and
sounds familiar.
21 Pilots, and then you have like you know, just small bands that aren't huge names, but yet you go on YouTube and they've performed live on KEXP in Seattle and all this
Right.
stuff. It's like, well, how did they do that? Well, over the past you know, year, we've flooded El Paso with shows, and you know, for those people again watching, there will not be a lot of Kilo and the Do shows in El Paso next year. There will be few and far between. We will. I'm not saying that we're going to be touring a lot, but we will be playing out of town shows like Albuquerque, Las Cruces, Midland, Odessa, stuff like that. Because I feel that if you flood your home market, it's almost like you're forcing yourself upon your people. And you know, you can get a good following of a few hundred people, but if you're telling them, hey, every weekend, come to my show, come to my show, come to my show, then you're eventually going to be like, whoa, who are these guys? They're not getting anywhere. They're just playing local shows. These guys are lame. And I guess my philosophy going forward is going to be, when you hear about a Kilo and the Do show, you're going to go to a Kilo and the Do show because you know what? You're going to enjoy the hell out of yourself.
Yeah, it's also kind of like a comedian, you know, like if you go watch the comedian over and over again,
Exactly.
it's the same fucking jokes, you know. Just it's after a while it gets pretty old. So one other thing I wanted to ask you, man, is actually on your guys' Facebook, your like motto is never fit for the real world. So we tried this out. What do you mean? What does that mean?
Well, my interpretation because a lot of the stuff
Was that not you? Is that Jason?
It's a little bit of both of us, because it was something that one of us said, and I think it fits. At some point in everyone's life, you don't feel that you're suited for what you're doing at any given moment, and and for me personally, that goes. That goes without saying. I've been working corporate jobs for the past 4 years, and it's like, this is real world life. And when I dropped out of UTEP, back when I was 20, I was like, I want to go to a 9-to-5 job. I want to have my own place and find a girl and settle down. And I've lived that life, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's not me. I'm that dude that's going to be up at night programming a video game or drawing something or recording some kind of music, and I'm not fit for the real world as defined by corporate America.
Right.
I'm trying something else because I don't like sitting in an office.
Neither do I, man. Neither do I.
You push through, right? You got to push through, but that's what my interpretation of it means.
Right. Well, yeah, and again, just to go back to the cynical thing of it, is I think, like with me, like I said, my problem is I've just become too complacent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, you in order to do something, you just have to just keep at it. You know what I mean?
and our motto has progressed and changed over time. A big thing that we want to push is power to the local dreamer. If there's something you want to do, go out and do it, man, because you know what? You have that power. You are a God-given individual. You have that right. You have that power. Fight through it and do it, man. Like, we're a local band, and regardless whether in February Kilo the Dude doesn't exist, you know what? Between February of 2013 and February of 2014, we existed. We played shows. We entertained people.
Yeah.
And we made some badass music. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and then you just move on to a next project or something.
Exactly. I mean, even if we'd stop playing music, we can always say, look, this is what I did, you know?
Right.
80 years from now, because we're probably going to all live till we're 100 come that time of, humanity.
Hopefully, man.
I can pull out a Kilo in the Dew sleeve, and I can be like, look.
Yeah.
I made this, and no one else did.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Absolutely. And that's what it comes down to. Of course, I'm not saying that I don't want to go farther and progress myself. My overall goal with this, and this is my personal goal as far as Jason, I can't speak for him. I want to be able to live a life where I am a musician.
Right.
Bottom line. If that means me and Jason...
It doesn't mean fucking big cars and big houses.
If me and Jason get a record deal, or if me and Jason go on tour and we get an angel investor, or if me and Jason break up and I find some little gig playing in a fun little jazz quintet here in El Paso, or if I up and leave, which I've had crazy ideas of moving to New Orleans and going and playing New Orleans jazz on the streets, but I make enough money to live, like, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, see, that's what I was talking about, a good positive attitude,
But, for any record producers watching, if you guys want to sign us, feel free.
Right. Well, yeah, and see, just to expand a little bit on that, because we could end on the note of your guys' CD release, which we haven't really talked much about. But the idea of getting signed is, especially nowadays, is kind of weird, and it kind of goes back to Linda's question of why are you doing this? Because it's the idea of why, knowing how just oversaturated the music industry is right now. Like, why would you even bother to write music? I mean, you've already answered that, but just the idea of how people still have that mentality of wanting to get signed. You know what I mean? And
well, I mean, I've read a lot of blogs, a lot of forums of, independent musicians. I've listened to a lot of podcasts and, anti-signing to a record label. It's not worth the time. What it comes down to, man, is to do what you love, you have to have money.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And as I'm working right now, I don't have enough money to even fund this project. I'm pulling money out of God knows where. Jason is doing the same. And honestly, what it comes out, I mean, don't think like if, MCA Records came up to us and was like, oh, we're going to give you $1 million, but we have full creative control. I basically shove it back in their face.
Right.
But, if someone, not even a record label, someone just came up to us and they were like, we like what you're doing. We want to see you do more of it.
Right.
Here's a little help. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, when I think signed to a record label, I don't think 80s Motley Crue where, we're going to jump on the tour bus and, do coke and drink and do all this crazy shit. No, because I'm not even into that. I mean, you guys have seen me drink a beer. I mean, I think this is one of the first beers I've had in like weeks. And, I don't drink when I perform. That I'm strictly against that. Like, not even to ease the tension, anything like that. What it comes down to is having the means to do what we want to do. And, to do that, you have to have enough money. I mean, even budgeting this, future tour, it's going to be hell on us,
Right.
But, we want to push forward because the end message is I want to get as many people to hear us as possible. And the quickest way to do that is to be on a record label because they have the distribution, they have the publishing, they have, the means of marketing you and stuff like that. And that's the only reason that I look at that in a sense. And that might sound, a little bit ridiculous based on some of the other statements I've made, but that's what I want,
Right.
I want to just be able to do that.
Well, I think it just comes down to like how we were talking about, it's not necessarily being signed to a record label. It's just finding someone who has faith in your music, who naturally is like, I'm going to push this band because I like what they do.
Exactly. And there are people out there. Yeah. And effectively what a record label is that dude, but then that dude, instead of just saying here's money, it's like, oh, well, I want you to be my business so I can make more money.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's honestly all I can think of, man. If there's anything else you wanted to mention, I mean, obviously we're doing this for your CD release so people get familiar with, who you are. I've always liked the idea of knowing the people behind the band for the most part. At least it kind of gives you some insight into what their goals are and stuff.
Well, I mean, thank you for having me.
Absolutely,
it's been
man.
Great talking to you. I love massaging my brain with words.
Yeah, and I mean, we could go on forever just fucking talking about. Just to keep it concise, your CD release party is tomorrow at Tricky Falls.
Yes.
It's doors open at 8 p.m. It's a free show.
It is a free show. We are accepting donations, so if you like what we're doing and you want to contribute based on my little thing of saying
you guys have merch also, or just CDs?
We will have merch. We're kind of limited right now. We were trying to order some other stuff, but it didn't go through. We will have shirts. We will have a limited number of shirts. We will also have CDs in abundance for sale as well. So if you guys want to pick one up, the shirts will be $10. CDs will be $7, and if you buy both, we'll give them to you for $15.
Cool. So that's it. The bands that are playing are Wake Up Stranger.
It's actually gonna be a bit different than any other thing because it's gonna be Magnifique opening, Wake Up Stranger, and then us performing. We're actually gonna be having it hosted by a local comedian who's also Vine famous. If you guys have the Vine app, his name's Vincent Marcus. Mm-hmm. He's gonna be doing his first local meetup. If anyone's familiar with Vine, I kind of have this phenomenon where these Vine celebrities, you know how the little Twitter check mark. Well, Vine has the same kind of concept.
For verification?
He has about 1.4 million followers, and a lot of these guys do, like, Vine meetups, and he just hasn't had the chance to do it. And so we're going to have him do it at our show, and hopefully that brings out people. He's a funny dude. He's actually going to be releasing an album of him doing his impersonations over a Christmas record. And these impersonations range from Peter Griffin to Joe on Family Guy, to Snoop Dogg, to Blink-182, both Tom and Mark, to Green Day, to Boris Karloff, the one that sings The Grinch. This guy is amazing. So he's going to be there. He's going to be hanging out, talking to people. I think we're going to have a Kilo in the Dew drink made up specifically for our show.
From him?
No, one of the promoters is making it up. So.
Oh, shit.
Luis is actually making it.
No way.
Yeah. And
nice.
And then we're going to be performing. Music starts right around 9, so we recommend get there as early as possible. We'll be hanging around, and you guys can meet us if you have any questions. We'll be just hanging out.
And you mentioned it is only those 3 bands, though, right? Wake Up Stranger, Magnifique, and Kilo in the Dew.
Okay. There may be a little bit of a surprise from Vincent Marcus. So just keep an eye out. But it is going to be those 3 bands. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so looking. And thank you so much to Tricky Falls for allowing us to host it there. They have the best sound in town, and it's going to be awesome. It is an all-ages show, so, you got kids, you want to come out. If you're 15 or 13 and you enjoy cool music, come out, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Magnifique has some really cool stuff that they do. I know you've seen them live.
Right.
Wake Up Strangers, they have some really cool music, and their drummer beats the hell out of his drums, which I love.
Explain a little bit about Wake Up Stranger, like what their sound is than Magnifique, just so people can be
Magnifique is kind of like an electronic group.
Mm-hmm.
It's composed of 2 people as well. I believe it's Ryan on keyboards and vocals, and a little drum machine that he uses. And then you have Jamie on guitar and vocals. She has a beautiful voice. And they have some really cool music. Go check them out. I believe their website is magnifiquemusic.com.
I think so. Right.
They have a CD out on iTunes. Go buy it. I've bought myself a copy. And really cool music, really cool lyrics, a lot of fun. If you like that, I don't want to say emotional, but they have some really cool lyrics. I will say that.
it's very
it's fun.
Yeah, it's electronic. It's kind of poppy in a way too, a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, we've played many shows together, and we just fit. And right off the bat, I was like, Magnifique has got to play with us. And then Wake Up Stranger, they're kind of like the palate cleanser between the two. Different.
Who's going first?
It's gonna be Magnifique going first.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So then Wake Up Stranger. I'm completely.
Wake Up Stranger is a local band. They've been around for a couple of years, but they've kind of like been in and out of the scene. You know, it's comprised of 3 dudes. We got
Is
Frank.
it rock?
It's indie rock.
Okay.
So think almost like Lusitania.
Really?
It's similar, but they have some more electronic guitar going on and stuff. It's really cool stuff. I've played live with them once. I don't believe they have any recordings out right now, but they're cool. Their music is fun, and they have some pretty cool lyrics, and we enjoy them. I mean, that's why we're really good friends with a couple of them as well. So they have that indie rock kind of just straightforward. I got a bass, I got a guitar, and I got a drum set. Let's just play.
Sounds
that
good,
kind of
man.
mood. It's kind of like I said, the palate cleanse. It's,
right.
We got Magnifique with this really energetic, poppy stuff, and then you got Wake Up Stranger. You're like, cool, man. I can just sit here and groove to this, and then Kilo and the Dude come and blows your head off.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, cool. I mean, is there anything else you want to add before we?
I think that's gonna be it. Check out our website. We do post on our website blog, kiloandthedewmusic.com. If you're interested in our stuff, if we sell out of shirts, we will have more made. We also will be selling on the website here in the coming months. We're going to have some koozies. We're going to have a couple of little wristbands and a bunch of other stuff that we're going to be making up. Come see Kilo and the Dude tomorrow because we probably will not be playing shows. We're going to take a little bit of a hiatus afterwards. We're going to be writing and stuff. So that's the biggest thing that I can push. Come to the show.
Cool. And so if there are any musicians out there who'd like to be interviewed for, another Ask an Enemy Interviews TV or live stream, just let me know. You can email me at askjc@askanenemystudios.com, and we'll get you on the show. And thanks for being on, man.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Last plug, if you guys want to check us out, kiloandthedewmusic.com, of course, facebook.com/kiloandthedew. We will also have a Bandcamp up, and you follow us on Twitter at Kilo and the Dew. You can follow me personally at DM Rivera TRE. You can follow Jason at DEW_slam.
Sucks he couldn't be here, man.
Yeah, I'm really bummed, man. I think he would have added a fun little flavor.
Right.
And then of course Facebook, everything else, and keep up on our Vine. We actually jumped up thanks to Vincent Marcus. So
wow,
we will be making daily Vines if you want to see us do some cool stuff.
I'm interested in that, man, because I've seen some of that guy's Vines and they're pretty funny.
Yeah,
and I want to see how that all goes together.
He helped us out, and we went from having 60 followers one morning to 1,600 the next. So
cool, man.
Yeah, just keep up and keep an eye out. I will say, go to our website. Our website will have any new content. We got some exciting things coming as by way of content. So
cool. And if you guys like the show, subscribe to the show. Go to youtube.com. That's where all the archives will be. Until next episode, we're out. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Linda said good show, guys. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
We's out, man.
Thank you, Chris, for being here.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Peace out.